I want to talk a little bit today about maneuvering through some relationship struggles. Depending on what kind of relationship struggles that you have, maybe trying to work through them. And so you're doing the work on your end, and maybe you're trying to communicate better. That would be your first objective, to try to communicate better. Number two is to be a good listener, try to get to the bottom of what your connection is. Take action on whatever that is that you feel like might be an action plan to work out. So let's just say you have some kind of a controversy going on. So you talk it through, and then you listen, yeah, the other person's side, you try towards some kind of a plan of action to move forward and straighten out the problems. And maybe there was some other shit that might have happened though. It's not just so cut and dry where you can get to the bottom of it, but there's like a root to the problem. So maybe this is a reoccurring thing. So the action plan is going to include somebody changing their behavior along the way. So you're going to be watching to make sure that um, the communication was good and the discussions that your plan of action can actually move forward. And so if you don't see any result from your plan of reaction over a little bit of time, then you might want to bring that forward again. Bring it up again, try to get to the bottom of what the problem is and why we couldn't move forward last time we had a discussion. And this can be at work too. It's a good way to manage a work conflict with your coworker. I mean, I'm basically getting to the point like this is that after you try these steps, you can't get anywhere and there isn't any change. But these are the steps to take. You always want to make sure you take proper steps before you leave your job, leave a relationship, or whatever the case scenario is. You might be having a problem with a family member, but usually, this is the healthy way to do it. And I know that a lot of times it goes to the relationship more like, let's just say, unprofessional the handling of the communication is. So even though we're in a close relationship, we still need to take steps in healing and getting the results that we need, to resolving things in a common manner, like a calm manner. We just want to get to the bottom of the problem. So we just can't be like saying things back and forth to each other and getting to the bottom of any discussion. So because I talked a lot about leaving toxic relationships, things like that, I just want to make sure that everyone understands that there is a point in time that you decide to leave a toxic relationship because you can't have these normal discussions. You cannot have a relationship that you can't communicate in. So if you are trying these tactics, sitting down, communicating, talking through things, trying to come up with a plan, then waiting to see if there's any feedback from the plan that you came up with. And then if there isn't any feedback and you meet again and you still can't resolve these, and that's when you start to think, well, okay, I can't get in this place, or I need to look into moving in a department or something. Something needs to change. You can't stay in a place where the relationship stays stuck in this place. Because there's so many toxic people that will go through these steps. They'll walk through the steps of trying to communicate with you. And it's just to appease you because their mindset isn't to come to a healthy conclusion or to heal the situation or to move forward in a healthy manner to resolve things. The thing is, that's how they operate. So by taking the steps to properly try to work the situation or a problem, and even maybe take notes. And if you're doing this at home, you're taking notes, maybe for a child, whatever it is, an older child, obviously, a teen or above, but take notes about like what they're saying, write down the feedback so that you can say to them the next time that you meet with them, this is what you said, this was our game plan, have a course of action and document it so that you can say to them next time we're meeting with them. This could be a roommate. Maybe you live with somebody and you just can't get them to do certain things that they agreed to do when they signed the lease with you. And so you hold the lease in front of them and say, well, this is what the lease says. We need to do this, this, and this, and this. This is part of the lease, and you agreed to do these things along with me. And then you came up with a plan to say, you'll do this 3 days a week, I'll do this 4 days a week, and then we'll switch off next week, you know. And so you come up with some kind of a game plan, but you find this person is not doing what they said they would do. Well, you find yourself at a loss. You're like, okay, what do I do? I've been someone routine. Well, then now you need to take action and start working yourself out of a lease. See, I think people get to a point where they're like, oh, well, we tried to communicate. Well, they might have just been yelling back and forth or arguing. So now you have an action how to communicate. Then you take notes, have feedback, have a plan. Now you've done this and you went back with feedback to say how this plan didn't work and it fell through again. So now when you actually try to get out of the lease, you have it documented that you had problems and now you can get out of the lease. When you get out of this marriage, you have like notes to say every time you approach this person, I warned them that we were going to separate. I warned them that we were going to have to get a divorce. I sat down with them. I remember sitting down with them. This is what I told them we needed to work on. This is what I felt we needed to work on. And but the thing is, you're not getting any feedback. You're running the whole show yourself. You're making the communication. You're trying to heal the relationship. You're holding all of the cards in your hand, and they're just like they like the way it's going. They like that you're handling the lease and taking care of all the responsibility. They like that you have most of the burden in the marriage. And so they're comfortable letting you hold on most of the burden in the marriage and not being responsible for everything because you're responsible for everything. They like this. They like how you're at work, you have a coworker, and you're supposed to be sharing the job responsibilities, more of the responsibilities on yourself. That's how they want it. So when you come to a conclusion after having these meetings and not being getting any feedback, realize the person that you're working with isn't on the same page with you. Now you have an option to leave the relationship, but at least you know that you walk through the healthy steps of healing relationship or the commitment you were in or the lease that you were in that you tried to work through it. Things. So now you know so that you have all of the facts put together by doing that. So that now you're dealing with somebody who doesn't want to move forward in that direction. So you know that you're not committed. You can't hold to their end of the bargain. Whatever it is, they managed to get what they wanted out of the situation without actually agreeing subconsciously to what the list said, what the lease said, what the marriage was about. They never actually agreed to that. They agreed to the part of, okay, I'll get in this with you so I can get what I want out of the situation. So you're not in flat Russian. You didn't you didn't get into a friendship. Like you get both of all of your time and energy into it. So as a result, it's still continuing have to go slower than actually. And it's that's how they go. or learn from it or have something healthy in the game. Everything's a game. Everybody involved is a player. Whether you want to be or not, you're a player in the game. They want to take run. So basically, you're the home and they have their team. So now at this point, when you start to separate from them or try to break away from the situation, they want to take as many of your players on your team over to their side. So they'll do that by playing another game by manipulating the players on what they think is your team. So this is a game and you're there. So any of your friends and family are also their opponent. So what they want to do is get your opponents onto their teams so that their team can have more opponents, more players, the advantage. That's what we try to go forward to break out the lease because they've broken the lease. Because you've got it documented that they've broken the lease and now you need to have them remove the lease and find somebody else to take their place. All of a sudden, they're going to be down at the leasing office telling the lease people that you are actually the problem, that you actually did this, 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 and this, and that you should be the one that should be removed from the lease, not them. And so they've already decided to come up with false evidence because this is a game to them. So they just need to get these lease people on their team before you get down there so they can make it look like you're the bad guy, even though you have all of the truthful evidence in front of you. So if you can just understand that they're playing a game, everything's a game. They just want to get as many of your opponents, of your players on their team, so they can be your opponents. You can have more opponents against you, so they can win. They just want to win. So when they're taking advantage of you in your lease, they're winning. And they go to the lease office and they lie about you and say that you're the one that can't hold up the lease, they're winning. When they go and grab your friends and make them turn them against you, they're winning. Everything is a win or a lose. Okay. So these are the kinds of people you're dealing with, and these are usually narcissists. Now, different type of personalities. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and see if you have circumstances and healing relationships. The responsibility is for you to do things healthfully and then be able to heal from these situations. Get out of them in a healthful way quickly if you can. Thank you.